Today's episode is brought to you by Nostalgia Classics.
Welcome back to Behind the Wheel, and I know what it looks like, but don't be fooled. Today, we drive a purebred Italian stallion. Sort of. This is a 1980 Chevrolet Corvette Targa, or as the cool kids call it, the C3. Now, I know this is neither Italian, nor is it, in all honesty, a purebred stallion, but that didn't stop Hollywood from trying to make you believe it was. I'll get back to this later. The Corvette, then, a true staple of American automotive history and one of the oldest still in production. We are now down to the 8th generation of Corvettes, but the first cars, the C1s, rolled off the assembly line in 1953, and except for a 2-year retirement break during which he went play baseball or something, there's always been a Corvette on Chevrolet's catalog. This car is a true symbol of the American way, and as a matter of fact, GM was so eager to be associated with the Apollo space program that it tried to give the astronauts Corvettes for free. Of course, this was widely illegal, so the space cowboys ended up having to pay for the cars for $1 a piece. If you ever get a deal like that, just take it. So, 1980, I was 1 year old, Pac-Man was gobbling up quarters, and the Empire was striking back. By the way, it is a little bit scary to think that this car is closer in time to the original Corvette than it is to the most recent model. Well, I guess time flies when you're having fun. Under the hood, you will find a 5.7-liter V8 engine that makes a modest 190 horsepower. That's roughly 30 horsepower per liter, or, to put things into perspective, about a third of what you get from a modern Ford Fiesta. Now, before you laugh, you have to remember that this car was built during the height of the oil crisis and emission regulation. So while it might not be a speed demon, the fact that it weighs only 1,500 kilos and is made almost entirely out of plastic means that you've got more than enough oomph to make you feel like the king of the road, especially considering how low you're sitting.
And in any case, with the Corvette lacks in raw power, it more than makes up for in style.
I mean, look at this thing. Only the Americans could design something so silly and so cool at the same time. And because it is a Targa, you get the best of both worlds. You get the rigidity of a coupe with the open-air experience of a convertible. If I had hair, I'd let it down to feel the wind in it. And of course, you've got the pop-up headlights that are placed at the end of a ridiculously long bonnet. Now, you guys know how much I love those gizmos, and the ones in this car do work, but pop-ups are notoriously unreliable. So if you ever think about getting a car like this, just do me a favor and don't plan too many overnight trips. A few words maybe about the interior. Well, 80s cars don't have the best reputation for interior design, but here you have many dials that tell you things about what the engine is doing, so I guess that's something. Plus, in between the steering wheel and the upholstery, it's all wood and shag in here, so what's not to like about that?
Okay, so I did mention earlier that this is sort of, kind of a purebred Italian stallion. And I was only partially lying.
If you were around in the 80s, you might remember a TV show going by the name of Miami Vice. Well, in the first 2 seasons of the show, Detective Crockett, played by Don Johnson, drove a 1972 Ferrari Daytona Spider. Pretty cool, right? Well, I hate to break the news to you, but the car he was driving was actually a C3 with a Armani suit and unfaithful of makeup.
You see, originally Ferrari didn't want anything to do with the TV show, so they refused to lend the production any car at all. The Italians even sued the producers, who had to give the fake Ferrari a proper send-off in season 3 in the form of a big explosion. Now, eventually Ferrari did give the team a couple of Testarosas for the latest seasons of the show, so all is well that ends well. But let this serve as a lesson. Everything you see on screen isn't always true.
For instance, right now, this very car could be in the back of a process trailer or in a green screen studio. Who's to tell? Back to this car though, because this Corvette is not just a car, it's an experience. It represents a time when driving was all about fun, style, and just a little bit of excess. Sure, it may not have been the fastest kid on the block, but it's got more than enough charm and personality to make up for it. As a matter of fact, I do identify quite a lot with this car. You see, it might be a little bit bloated and God does it drink a lot, but it's also so lovable that you are willing to put up with its obvious flaws and funky smell.
So there you have it, folks, the 1980 Corvette Targa, a true icon of the 80s. A car that makes you feel like a playboy, even when you're just driving to the shop for more sausage rolls. And really, you can't put a price on that.
Or can you? This car, for instance, is for sale, so give us a shout and we'll see what we can do for you.
I might not answer right away though, because I do intend to keep driving this one until the sun goes down.